Happy Wednesday afternoon, everybody. This is Mayor Mike, and this is our next segment of Ask the Mayor. Now, we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to treat this a little bit different today because over the last week, we have not had any residents submit questions, so there's no questions for me to answer today. But I'm going to take the opportunity to go into a little bit deeper dive as to what the town council's budget that was passed on Monday night in the related revaluation means to each of you. So now let's start with the idea or the understanding that the budget that I submitted to the town council and that the town council passed on Monday night was balanced using taxpayer revenue generated by the mill rate of $136.1 million. That's the exact same number as last year. So it should be clear to everybody that taxes were not raised in this budget, and that's important to know. But I will tell you, because residential real estate property values have risen dramatically, predominantly because the COVID-19 flight from the city, we have a lot of people coming from New York buying houses very quickly and at a premium here in East Hartford. Candidly, the housing market is basically too hot. That's great news if you're selling. And related to the budget that the town council passed on Monday, it means that everybody who owns a house in East Hartford owns a little bit more or shoulders a little bit more of the tax burden. And here's how it breaks down. So first off, the mill rate that was set on Monday night is a flat 41 mills. That's down from 49.35. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get a tax decrease. Certainly your automobiles, certainly certain houses will get a tax break. And here's how it breaks out. Let's say the value of your house went up 20%. If you own a small house, that means it has a market value of about $150,000 or an assessed value, that's 70% of the market value, of $105,000. You're going to see a $4,307 tax bill. That compares favorably to a $4,320 tax bill. So if your house only went up 20%, you're actually going to see a $13 tax decrease. Now with the lower mill rate on the car, you're actually going to save $100 year over year. So in total, you'll see about a $113 tax break or 2.1%. If Governor Lamont's 29 mill rate goes into effect, you'll actually see another $400 decrease or a total of a 7.6% reduction. We hope that goes into effect, but we don't know for sure. Now let's go into a medium house that only went up 20% in value. That has a value of about $202,000, an assessed value, that's the piece that's taxed on it, of $141,237. That generates a tax bill of $5,791, comparing favorably to a $5,808 tax bill last year. So you actually save $17. Working quickly through the math, you'll save another $100 on your car. If Governor Lamont's 29 mill rate goes in, you'll save another $400. So if you have a house, a medium-sized house that went up 20% in value, you're looking at a $417 tax cut, or about 6%. Conversely, if you have a large house, $263,000 market value, $184,000 assessed value, your tax bill is going to be $7,550, a $23 reduction from the $7,573 tax bill you had last year. Again, $100 tax break because of the lower mill rate on your car. Governor Lamont's 29 mill rate goes into effect, you'll see $400. So you'll see a $423 decrease or 4.9%. So my point is, if your house went up in value by only 20%, you will see across the board tax decreases. Now let's concentrate on what happens if it goes up by 30%. Same house, $150,000 sale price, and that's a small house. And last year, you would have paid $3,988. You're going up by $4,307, or that's what your tax bill will be. An increase of $319. You'll either save $100 with the lower mill rate or 400 if the Governor Lamont's plan goes into place. So even if a small house went up in value by 30%, you're going to save $81 over last year. However, if you have a medium house, you're going to see a $429 increase. I won't go through all the math, offset by either a $100 or $400 increase, depending on if the mill rate stays the same or Governor Lamont's 29 mill rate is adopted. You're basically not going to see any tax increase or decrease, $29 more over the course of a year. Now, if you have a large house that went up by 30%, again, I won't do the math, that's a $263,000 house, market value, $184,138. Assessed value, you're going to pay $7,550 compared to $6,990. That's an increase of $560. You're either going to get another $100 off or another $400 off. So at the end of the day, you're likely to be paying $160 more, or 2%. So you can see you're in better shape if your house only went up 20% from 30%. In the majority of houses went up somewhere between 30 and 35. Matter of fact, 92% of the houses we have in East Hartford went up no more than 40 or 45% or less. So the numbers I'm reading off are really indicative of the vast majority of people in town. Let's examine a 40% increase. On a small house, that's a $604 year-over-year increase, offset by either $100 or $400. So if Governor Lamont's car tax plan goes into place, you will pay $204 more on a small house. And again, that's with 2 cars with a value of $25,000, provided Governor Lamont's 29 mill rate goes into effect. And I hope you're following this. I know it's difficult as a video to really understand the numbers, but if you have a medium-sized house, again, $201,767 market, $141,237 assessed, you're going to pay $5,791 under this budget with a 41 mill rate, compared to $49.79 last year. That's an increase of $812, less either $100 or $400 if Governor Lamont's plan goes into place. So out of pocket at the end of the year on a medium-sized house with a 40% increase in the assessed value, you'll pay a net of $412 or 6.7%. And finally, on a large house, $263,055 market, $184,138 assessed. At a mill rate of 41, you're going to pay $7,550 compared to the prior year of $6,491. That is $1,059. And again, let's assume Governor Lamont's 29 mill rate goes into effect. You're going to be paying a net of $659. So our point here is, the reason I'm going through this in excruciating detail is, generally speaking, if your house only went up 20 or 30%, there's not much of a tax bite coming. If your house went up by 40 or more, there is a tax bite coming. It's not increased taxes due to the budget. It's simply a shift away from commercial properties onto residential. To give you an example, car taxes overall in the town went down by almost $2 million. In Pratt & Whitney alone, their tax bill went down by about $2 million. So again, this is a no tax increase budget, but who's paying the taxes compared to last year is very different because of the dramatic increase in the cost or the price of houses. So the good news is your house is worth more than it's ever been. The bad news is you have to shoulder a little bit more of the tax burden. If anybody has any questions, please call my office. At the moment, that budget went into effect. There's an opportunity for residents to go door to door and petition for a referendum. It passed 9-0. Democrats and Republicans agreed it was a solid budget. So I'm confident there won't be a referendum. But at the end of the day, the council had a public hearing. They had workshops. They made some minor changes to it. Revaluation is difficult to understand, but at the end of the day, we have a balanced budget, and we request that anybody who has a mortgage and an escrow, please review your escrow worksheet so that if these taxes, if you're in in the community with a house that has gone up by 40% or more, and you don't have any newer cars to offset that, you want to work with your bank and start pre-funding your escrow. And that's a tip provided by town resident Brenda Egme. It's a very good tip, and I pass it along to you. So this is Mayor Mike. It's Wednesday, and I'll see you next week.